Throughout the years in the NBA, we've seen stars be born. We've seen them get engraved in history as lifelong legends as they enter the top 75 or 100 players of all time. But somehow, no matter how good or memorable they are, they become forgotten. They may have had amazing careers, they may have had a long career, they may have had a short career, but for one reason or another, they're never really brought up. They're never mentioned, and they're never remembered. Today, we look back at 3 of my favorite NBA stars and just review their skill sets, their career, and why I think they were forgotten rather than remembered. Now, again, this is just a very short list of 3 players, and there are tons of NBA players that are great and were forgotten. So if you're new here, I'd like you to just subscribe as we are posting every single day for the month of December, and also leave in the comments your favorite forgotten star. Let's waste no more time and jump right into this with Brandon Roy. I like to open this up with a quote from the late Kobe Bryant. In 2010, Kobe was asked who the hardest player he has to defend was, and he said Brandon Roy, 365, 7 days a week. Roy has no weaknesses in his game. Now, obviously, this is a immensely appreciative quote. Kobe was not the type to compliment his peers. Later in his career, he gave a lot of respect to the likes of the Kyrie Irvings, the Russell Westbrooks, guys with great motors. But when he was playing, we all know Kobe Bryant had no friends and all enemies. Brandon was another player that reminded me of the likes of Tracy McGrady or Jamal Crawford, but just bigger and better and stronger. Maybe not bigger than Tracy McGrady, but his movement downhill, his transition ability in defense and offense, his ability to change speed in transition and out of the triple threat. A very, very shifty downhill scorer who could shoot the ball. For his career, he averaged 21 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds on 47, 35, 80 shooting splits. 4 of his years, he was very successful in Portland, and then 2 of his years after his knee issues and surgery, he tried to come back, play for the Timberwolves. It didn't really go that well. Brandon Roy is just one of those players where you unfortunately chalk it up to injuries. He had terrible, terrible knees, and he needed a knee cartilage replacement that's it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of like what we're seeing with Lonzo Ball right now. Had Brandon not been injured, we would likely see a Hall of Fame worthy career out of him. Even if he wasn't winning, we would see like Tracy McGrady, how he didn't win much, but he had 8 All-Stars and he was a dominant scorer and a prolific talent, so he was just given that nod regardless. Something that's very interesting to take into account with Greg Oden and Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge and that Portland Trailblazers team, they only played 62 games together, and in those 62 games, they were 50-12. Brandon Roy is just such a fun player to watch, and it's hard for people to understand because you can look at what I'm playing for you on the screen right now, these highlights, and you can go back and do your own due diligence and research. But you'll never understand how great Brandon Roy was unless you do your own due diligence and go back and watch an entire game, 48 minutes from start to finish, from 2006-ish, 2007-ish, all the way to even 2010. It's just his impact when he's not on the floor and his impact on the floor just really shows. If you want to watch a game towards the end of his career when he still showed the flashes, I'd recommend watching Game 5 of the Western semifinals, or no, it was the first round. Brandon Roy and the Portland Trailblazers faced off against the Mavericks, and Brandon had, I want to say it was 18 points or something in the fourth quarter, including the game winner. Just a remarkable game to stop the Mavericks that ended up winning the championship that year. I got nothing but love for Brandon, and that's why he's on this list. Also, shout out him for the coaching career that he's got going on. He just did a podcast with I'm blanking on his name, Michael Porter Jr. There we go. He just did a podcast with Michael Porter Jr. not long ago, and it was absolutely amazing. Second on this list, we have Baron Davis. At his peak, Baron Davis was just a highlight reel. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He was just entertainment, and entertainment value was through the roof. On the We Believe Warriors, he was just so much fun. From 2001 to 2008, he averaged 20 points and 8 assists, while also averaging 2 steals a game. And he made 2 All-Star games, which is very funny because if someone averaged 20 and then 20 points, 8 assists, 2 steals today, they would be pretty much a walk-on All-Star. It just shows you how competitive it was for guards back then. He was also selected to his first and only All-NBA team in 2003. He did struggle to stay healthy like the other guys on this list late into his career. He just was so fun. And so is the We Believe Warriors. Obviously, they are very well known for one of the craziest 1-8 seed upsets when they shocked the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks won 67 games that year, and the We Believe Warriors behind Baron Davis, they stopped them in the 2007 playoffs. They beat them, and Baron was excellent in that series. He averaged 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 54% from the field, and a whopping 45% from three on, I believe it was around 5 or 6 attempts a night. Baron Davis was ahead of his time, an explosive, bouncy, small guard. In this era of basketball, fresh out of the 90s, fresh out of the early 2000s, we often didn't see guys like that were jumping out of the gym with that little height and that much heart. Obviously, you see the guys like Spud Webb who, won that dunk contest, but it's not like Spud Webb was climbing the ladder and getting these crazy, scary poster dunks. You all know about the one that he had on AK-47, Andre Karolinko, and he rips his jersey up, and it's the crowd goes wild. Baron Davis was just, his nickname Boom Dizzle, it's not for nothing. He was very, very gifted, and it's sad because it's one of those people like Stephon Marbury, where you look at him and you think, who's not on this list but very well could be. It's like, if you know type of vibes, So I know I kind of sound crazy and silly right now, but Baron Davis deserves to be on this list as well. Then finally, we have one for those that maybe you missed out on Brandon Roy, maybe you missed out on Baron Davis. The third one we got is Kemba Walker for my more new age viewers. He had a very impressive 9-year stint in the league from 2013 to 2021. He averaged 21 points, 6 assists, and shot 37% from three on 7 attempts a night. He definitely wasn't as good as the Steph Currys, the Kyrie Irvings, the Damian Lillards, the Russell Westbrooks, but he was a star, and he made basketball fun in Charlotte. They were never good. I don't put those words in my mouth. They were never that good. But man, he was so much fun. And I believe he had a year where he made the first team All-NBA, or maybe it was second team, but he was averaging around 27 a night. Kemba Walker is just one of those. I made a video the other day called The Greatest Ball Handlers of All Time, and Kemba Walker rightfully could have been on that video if it was a top 10 list. Undersized point guard with so much heart and such a shifty and quick jump shot. Not to mention, most people know Kemba as Cardiac Kemba. The one of the most clutch players in college basketball and in the pros. It's a really big shame, in my opinion, that things didn't work out in maybe Boston or New York or Dallas towards the very end. Most people probably don't even know he had a stint with Dallas. It's just upsetting. Some people, they get phased out of the NBA, or their ego won't let them continue. Kemba Walker kind of reminds me of another person who could have been on this list, Monte Ellis. If you know, you know. But what do you guys make of this? What do you think of these three players? And please, if you made it this far, be sure to tell me who you want on this list or who you think should be on this list. Because like I said, it's really a never-ending list. Other guys that didn't make it, like Jakeem Noah could have been on this list. Sean Marion could have been on this list. Like I said earlier, you could add guys like Monte Ellis or Danny Granger could have been on this list. I just wanted to keep three that I really enjoyed watching. But again, this is all opinion-based. You don't have to like my opinion, but I encourage you to share yours. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.